here on Watch On channel. Today I wanted to make a video comparing a prototype of a new microbrand watch from Borealis Watches, which is a very well-known Portuguese microbrand Divewatch company, to the final product. So the cool thing is that with this Olisipo, which is the newest model, Carlos from Borealis Watches, he actually sent me the prototype for review. Right now the watch is completely sold out in all the versions, but have a look on eBay, for example, in a month or two. I'm sure some examples would actually eventually turn up on eBay. So the cool thing with this video, in my opinion, was actually just to compare the prototype to the final product, so you can actually see the differences from the initial prototype to what you actually get as a consumer, as a buyer of watches. So I will give you the choice to guess which of these two is the prototype and which of these two watches is actually the final product before I move on and just tell you which is the prototype and which is the final product. So maybe you guessed right, but this is the prototype and this is the final product. This is the Olisipo and this is a modern Divewatch fitted with the Miyota 9015 movement, which is a high beat movement, quite comparable to the Sellita SW200 or the ETA 2824. And you get a modern dive watch with ceramic bezel insert and sapphire crystal and a real nice bracelet, which is kind of a presidential style bracelet. So let's look at the subtle differences. And I want to show you that if you look at the fit and the finish of the end link, you can easily see you get a little gap between the case and the actual end link, as well as you get some kind of red coloring inside just up to the watch. And if you look at the finish here on the final product, you actually get a perfect fit. That's just one of the things really just revealing that this is a prototype. So what they actually did with the final product was that they actually made everything perfect. So they aligned everything, all the little details Carlos noticed when he got the prototypes from China. He actually told the company who produced the watches, guys, we need a better fit and finish with this watch. As you can see here, again, look at the gap between the end link and the case, and then look here, the gap between the end link and the case is absolutely perfect. Another thing which is noticeable in the difference between these two watches, and which is very, very hard to see, you can actually see that the alignment is just a little bit off on the prototype, like 0.5 millimeter or even less. If you look at the triangle at 12 o'clock, you can see it's just very, 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 very almost not noticeable off. Another thing which is quite noticeable, look at the gap between the screw down case back and the case on the prototype. Maybe you can see it's just a little bit of a gap, which actually isn't very good, because maybe this prototype won't keep the water resistance of 300 meters. And then look here, it's perfectly fitted. It's actually sealed, so you won't get any water into the movement if you dive with this watch. That's just two very noticeable differences, the fit and finish of the case back and the bracelet, and then just this maybe less than 0.5 millimeter off with the alignment, which is actually pretty interesting that it's very small details. Another detail is definitely the accuracy, and that's quite funny because the prototype is actually more accurate than the final product. When you look right now on the prototype, you can see we get maybe between 3 and 5 seconds minus. But look at the amplitude, it's absolutely horrible. A new watch should have an amplitude of approximately 300, which means that the movement is very, very healthy and it's oiled and everything is very nice and aligned with the movement. Also look at the beat error, it's 0.2 in beat error. If you look at the final product, we don't get the same accuracy, which is kind of a shame, but with these Japanese movement, it's kind of a little gamble how much accuracy you get with the watches. But if you look at the amplitude, this is much better. It should be around 300, but 260, 280 is perfectly fine for this watch. Also look at the beat error. You don't get beat error, but you get approximately between 10 and 13 seconds plus a day. So looking at the loom, as we see right now, you actually get exactly the same loom. There's no difference in the loom on the ceramic bezel insert, which is loomed as you can see, and also the hands and the hour markings. Also, I don't see any other differences with the fitted finish, and I also don't notice any differences with the crown. Both of these screw down crowns at around 4 o'clock work perfectly. Also, fitting the bracelet was very easy. A little difference, which is maybe just a coincidence, is actually that the clasp is much harder to open on the prototype compared to the final product, which is much more smooth and feels just better when you're actually opening the clasp and just popping open the clasp here at the fold-over clasp and then opening the clasp. So maybe that's just a coincidence, but this feels just a little bit better. So the differences between a prototype watch from a microbrand and the final product are very, very small differences. But when you see them compared to each other, you see that they're actually pretty big differences. Because the fit of the end links with this watch and also the little misalignment as well as the very unconvincing fit and sealing of the screw down case back is actually some of the things which would be a big disappointment if this was a finished watch. And that's actually the point of many of those very cheap Chinese watches. You actually get this kind of fit and finish. They don't care about the details, they just want to keep down the price. With the final product from a serious company like Borealis, although these watches are produced in China, you actually get a very nice fit and finish. Everything is perfect, and for a watch that is around $350 to $400, I think you get a really, really nice budget microbrand dive watch. So I can definitely recommend the final product. I hope this video was informative for you guys. I hope you enjoyed to see the small differences between a final product and a prototype of the same product. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Give me a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video on the forums on Facebook and other places. Thank you. Bye.